The roar of the crowd shakes the Colosseum. Two men face each other, steel flashing, hearts pounding, while the empire watches. But Rome's story was never just written in blood and sand. It was carved in stone, poured in concrete, and carried on roads that stretched to the edge of the known world. Its soldiers built as much as they conquered. Its arenas entertained as much as they inspired awe. And though centuries have passed, the echoes remain in our cities, our laws, our games. This is the story of Rome, where innovation and spectacle walked hand in hand and shaped the world we still live in. Rome did not rise overnight. It was not born in a single battle, nor conjured by the will of one man. It grew layer upon layer, like a city of living stone. At the heart of this growth was a gift that set Rome apart: the ability to turn ideas into reality on a scale the world had never seen. Consider the roads, those long, straight scars across the land. They were more than paths. They were lifelines. Laid with precision, built to last centuries, they connected remote villages to the beating heart of the empire. Grain from Egypt, tin from Britain, silk from the East. Everything flowed along this network, a web spun by Roman hands. But these roads were not only for merchants, they were for the legions. Thousands of soldiers could march swiftly, responding to rebellion, securing borders, or pushing deeper into uncharted lands. Every stone laid beneath their sandals was as much a weapon as the sword they carried. And then came the water. Aqueducts rose like stone rivers in the sky, carrying life to the cities. Fresh water flowed into fountains, baths, and homes, an invisible miracle for its time. In an age when much of the world drank from rivers muddied by livestock, Rome engineered purity. What is striking is not just the achievement itself, but the vision behind it. This was a people who understood that power was not only measured in armies and territory, but in the comfort and order brought to daily life. Even today, when we turn a tap or drive on a highway, we echo Rome. Our modern world has hidden the hands that build it, but in ancient Rome, those hands belonged to soldiers, engineers, and visionaries working as one. If Rome's roads and aqueducts were its arteries, then the Colosseum was its beating heart. Here, the empire revealed another kind of genius, not just in stone and mortar, but in understanding the human soul. The Colosseum was more than an arena. It was a marvel of design. Tens of thousands could enter and be seated in minutes. Its retractable awnings shaded the crowd. Beneath the floor, an intricate system of elevators and trapdoors brought wild animals, scenery, and armed men into the light, as if conjured from the earth. The Romans built for spectacle as much as they built for function, and the spectacle was the gladiator. Many were slaves, prisoners of war, or condemned criminals, but not all. Some were free men who traded liberty for the chance at wealth, fame, and a place in history. The crowd loved them not because they were killers, but because they embodied courage, defiance, and the fragile beauty of life lived on the edge of death. The emperors understood the power of these games. Bread and circuses, feed the people, entertain them, and they will not rise against you. It was a lesson in politics as much as in architecture. And in this, Rome was centuries ahead, mastering the art of distraction long before the age of screens and stadiums. Yet, beneath the roar of the crowd was something more profound, a reflection of Rome itself. Just as the empire demanded discipline, skill, and sacrifice from its soldiers, the games demanded the same from its gladiators. Both fought for survival. Both fought for Rome in their own way. Even today, when tens of thousands fill modern stadiums, when fighters walk into arenas lit with flashing lights instead of torches, we are still chasing that same thrill, a connection to something primal, something that the Romans understood all too well. When we imagine the Roman soldier, we see the gleam of bronze, the square shield, the short stabbing sword, the gladius, for which he was named. But the true strength of the Roman legion did not lie in its weapons. It lay in its discipline. A legion was not a mob of warriors. It was a machine. 10 cohorts to a legion, centuries within each cohort, led by centurions whose hardened gaze could silence the bravest recruit. Every man drilled until formation was instant, until the clash of shields and the push forward was as natural as breathing. The Romans fought to win, but also to endure. They could march 20 miles in a day, then set to work building a fortified camp before nightfall. They carried more than weapons: stakes for palisades, tools for digging, rations for weeks. The same men who broke enemy lines could by dawn be laying foundations for a road, a bridge, or an aqueduct. In Rome, conquest and construction were never separate. This unity of war and engineering made the empire unstoppable. When the legions advanced into Gaul, into Britannia, into the deserts of North Africa, they brought Rome with them, stone by stone, road by road. And with each step, they reshaped the world. The legacy is still with us. Modern armies may ride in armored vehicles instead of marching in formation, but the principles remain: discipline, supply lines, and the infrastructure to hold what has been taken. The legions wrote the manual for empire, and we, knowingly or not, still follow it. Stone and steel may have built Rome's walls, but it was ideas that kept them standing. The empire's greatest innovations were not always the ones you could touch. Roman law was one such creation. The principle that a person was innocent until proven guilty, that citizens had rights, that laws should be written and publicly displayed. These were revolutionary in their time. In a world where justice often meant the whim of the powerful, Rome gave law a spine. The governance of the empire was equally remarkable. Senates, magistrates, and assemblies, layers of authority that allowed Rome to rule provinces thousands of miles away without losing control. It wasn't perfect. Corruption bled through the cracks. But for centuries, this system held one of the largest empires in history together. These laws and structures flowed along the same roads as the legions. A soldier's boot carried more than a sword. It carried the weight of Roman order, the assurance that the empire's reach was not only in arms, but in rules and rituals. Even the gladiators felt its grip. Their fates were determined by law, their contracts recorded, their victories or pardons sealed with the emperor's thumb. The games may have been chaos to the eye, but behind them lay a system as organized as any battlefield. In this way, Rome's power was complete. It ruled the body through soldiers, the spirit through spectacle, and the mind through law. Rome was not immortal. Its walls would crumble, its roads crack, its aqueducts run dry. The roar of the Colosseum would fade into the whisper of wind through broken arches. The legions would lay down their shields, the gladiators their swords. But for all that has been lost, much remains. The blueprint of our cities, the structure of our laws, the rhythm of our armies, all bear the fingerprints of Rome. We drive on roads laid to the same principles, gather in arenas designed for the same purpose, live under laws shaped by the same ideals. We are, in ways both visible and hidden, still citizens of an empire long fallen. And there is a lesson in that. Rome's genius was not just in what it built, but in how it understood the human heart. The legions marched with discipline because they believed in Rome. The people filled the arenas because they wanted to be part of something greater, even if it was only as a voice in the crowd. Innovation and spectacle, discipline and distraction. Rome wove them together into a single tapestry, binding a vast and diverse world into one. Perhaps that is why its shadow stretches so far. Because Rome, for all its triumphs and cruelties, understood something timeless. To endure, a civilization must build not only with stone, but with story. It must give people a reason to march, a reason to gather, a reason to believe. And so, though the empire fell, its spirit marches still. In every soldier who carries their craft with pride, in every crowd that gathers to cheer, in every road that leads us forward. The roads of Rome never truly ended. They only changed direction, leading not away from the past, but carrying it with us, mile after mile, into the world we call our own. Thank you for watching.